visit nation by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Brazil is concerned, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi in fact met the leaders of several countries, including those from Italy, Indonesia, Norway and Portugal, on the sidelines of the G20 Summit and discussed the ways to improve and then strengthen the ties between the two nations. PM Modi also arrived in the Brazilian city after concluding a two-day trip to Nigeria. PM Modi has met his Italian counterpart Giorgia Meloni and discussed the ways to deepen the ties in defense, security, trade and technology. He also in fact met the Indonesian President Prabowo and discussed ways to improve ties in security, healthcare. The talks during the PM Modi's meeting with Portugal Prime Minister in fact added more vigor to the economic linkages between the two countries. PM Modi also held a bilateral meeting with his United Kingdom counterpart Keir Starmer on the sidelines of the G20 Summit in Brazil. He described the meeting as extremely productive and expressed the eagerness to collaborate in the areas such as technology, green energy, security and innovation as well. All right, viewers, joining me live back on the broadcast is my colleague Brian. Brian, as we talk about the bilateral ties when a summit like G20 is happening and there are many nations, in fact the world leaders present there are ambitious talks and productive discussions taking place, but at the same time the bilateral ties focus largely upon strengthening the relations and ties of two nations. How do you in fact add more details as to what has happened with the India-UK relations and India-Indonesia relations with the discussions with the relevant counterparts? All right, viewers, as the bilateral ties has in fact happened, all right, Brian, if you can hear me, put this in perspective about the bilateral ties that in fact Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held with Brazil and the counterparts in Nigeria, Guyana and all these world leaders on the sidelines of G20. In fact, the UK PM also held deliberations with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What were the conversations mostly like on the sidelines of G20 as the bilateral talks have happened?
Well, Simran, definitely, Prime Minister Narendra Modi engaged with several world leaders, including Brazil, Singapore, Portugal, Spain, during this G20 summit also that is happening. Now, he even received a warm welcome from Brazilian President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, who is hosting the summit, and even expressed his gratitude, where he posted on X also that he looks forward in the proceedings at the G20 summit that is happening in Rio de Janeiro. And after concluding this very two-day visit also in Nigeria, he even hold discussions with UN Secretary António on the sidelines of the summit. And additionally, he met Singaporean Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, sharing his enthusiasm on X as well. He even met Keir Starmer also, where he had discussions and deliberations also on the sidelines of the summit. And he even said that it was a wonderful interaction with the people, with the Prime Minister Lawrence Wong also of Singapore during the G20 summit that is happening in Rio de Janeiro. And post that also, Prime Minister even further interacted with Spanish President Pedro Sanchez, who even recently visited India also and highlighted the continued diplomatic engagements also, and marked on X that from Vadodara to Rio, the interactions continue, and it was a lovely interaction with the President of Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez. Also, during his address also on summit's opening, Narendra Modi also emphasized the proportionate impact of the global food, fuel, fertilizer crisis on the global south, urging G20 nations also now to prioritize these challenges. And this summit also expected to feature discussions on the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the escalating situation that is happening in Gaza as well. Simran.
Thank you for adding these details and in fact putting this in perspective also. What is the focus on the bilateral ties of India with the many nations including UK and Indonesia? All right, viewers, now in fact let's move on.